Hello and welcome to ICB TV, the software sessions. Today we're looking at TaxCalc and TaxFiler, two tools that can help you do accounts preparation and tax filing for your clients. And they also do a little bit of practice management as well. So here to talk to you about those are the two people who really know what they're talking about. Of course, they're ICB members. We've got Nicola Paddy and Lucy Brown. So hello, Lucy Brown. You are going to be representing, can I say representing? Talking about TaxFiler today. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm a TaxFiler user, yes.
Okay, perhaps not officially a representative, but a user for sure. And Nicola Paddy, you're here to talk about TaxCalc. How are you doing?
Hi Amy, I'm fine, thank you. Yes, I'm a TaxCalc user and I've been using it since 2012.
Oh my, does that count as an early adopter?
No, it'd been going for quite a while before then.
Right, so I know that when we were looking for contributors, June Carter was like, Nicola Paddy, she's always loved TaxCalc. So thank you also, Nicola, for wearing blue eyeliner, as is customary. So let's just find out a little bit about your practices. Nicola Paddy, so what can you tell us about your practice? How long have you been in practice? Obviously, at least since 2012.
I've been in practice since May 2011. And been, as soon as ICB members were allowed to do, I then sort of sat all the exams, and as soon as ICB members were allowed to do financial accounts and corporation tax returns, I did the exams and the practice started providing that for clients. I've got a couple of members of staff that work part-time, and we're based down on the south coast in Chichester.
Lovely. And what fantastic, Lucy Brown, whereabouts are you based and what does your practice look like?
I'm in Lincolnshire. I work on my own as a limited company. I got my first practice license, I think, in January 2014. Currently I worked it out last night, 55 clients on AML online, but some of those are directors and their limited companies as two records. So it's a fair sized little business, really.
So just in terms of capacity, do you think, I mean, is there a limit, do you think, to how many clients you can have as a one person practice?
I think it depends what you're doing for them. So if it's an awful lot of self-assessments, if you can get them to spread the workload over the year, then you can have quite a few of those. But if they're medium-sized limited companies, then probably not as a sole trader or as a sole bookkeeper. I'm certainly at capacity now for my size of business. I'm working more hours than I want to at the moment. So yeah, I'm looking at all these software sessions to try and work out where I can streamline further to make it ease my load, really.
And do you want to work full time or?
No, not at the moment. No, I want a life as well. No, I've got two small children, so I want to fit it into school hours, really. And at the moment, it's more of a full-time job, and that's not what I really set out to do at this point in time. When they're older, certainly, yeah, I want to grow. But I think.
And so you're thinking of streamlining the processes rather than taking on a subcontractor, or?
I am looking at it all. I need to. Yeah, I probably would take on a subcontractor to ease some of the load, but I want to have all my processes looking as good as they can and working as well as possible before I do that. I don't want to be spending money on someone else when actually I could be saving it by making my work more efficient.
Systemizing, I love it. So if you caught one of our past episodes of ICB TV, I did mention a subcontracting agreement that we are preparing. We are working on it. It's actually provision of services agreement, says the lawyer. So that is coming. So watch this space. I'll let you know when it's available. So Nikki, so you said you've got two part-time members of staff. Is that right? Yeah. And how do you kind of subdivide the work? Are you feeling sort of at capacity yourself? Are you overworked, or are you nailing it?
I am at the moment, because I work from home. Unfortunately, I couldn't have my member as one of them is my son. He works very part-time for me, so he's been able to carry on with a little bit of work. But my member of staff that isn't, I've had to put on furlough because I can't have her come in the house. So I've been more than at capacity.
Capacity, I love it. Okay, so in terms of the split of your clients then, how many of them are you doing tax work for, accounts preparation for, Nicola?
I'm probably doing tax work for about 75 to 80% of my clients.
Oh, yikes. Right. And is that the range? Is that all sort of corporation tax, self-assessment tax?
Corporation tax, self-assessment for the directors where I do their corporation tax. Sole trader self-assessment tax, and self-assessment tax for people who've got rental properties or just need to do a tax return because HMRC has told them they need to do one.
I see. Okay, and Lucy, what proportion of your work or your clients are you doing tax?
I think I've got about 27, I think, self-assessment clients of the 55, and then my limited companies, I probably do the accounts for, getting on for 2/3 and probably send 1/3 onto an accountant.
And is it, as they say, a tidy little earner?
Yes.
Yeah, on the whole can be, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it as kind of, I would imagine that I might find it a little bit worrying, the thought of doing that work myself, when you're like, you've got your bookkeeping process, you might be doing your monthly reports, whatever, that's quite tidy. Do you think is it sort of intimidating, worrying, too much of a sort of time constraint or responsibility? Is there anything that you think other bookkeepers might like to consider, Lucy, before they take it on?
I find it quite, it's a responsibility. It is scary. It's really grown-up accounting stuff, but we're trained and we pass exams to do it. I make use a lot of my branch members, my fellow members in my branch. We've got several of us that are qualified to do the final accounts, and we'll often discuss areas of concern or worry, or just, I mean, obviously it's all confidential. We don't give our clients details, but we can certainly talk through things that are worrying us and scenarios, and that's a real comfort to know that even if it's just something silly that you're just not quite sure on and you want someone to sense check it, it's a great tool, really, to be able to do that, and that gives real comfort.
So Nikki, so Lucy, you're obviously on the advisory council and you chair a branch. And Nikki, I've seen you, I think, at every single ICB event ever, and you're always there flying the flag at all the sort of industry events as well. And you gad about a bit, don't you?
I do, yes.
And so how are you finding time? Do you think that is it sort of critical to be getting your software system right so that you can offer these services and still, be the social bookkeeper that you want to be?
It's critical to make sure you've got the right tools for you. Each piece of software isn't necessarily right for everybody, and you've got to find what suits the way that you work.
All right, well, let's crack on. So what's so great about TaxCalc then?
Well, I went over to it in 2012 and I find it really simple to use. Everything is a step-by-step thing. You just answer your questions, yes, no, put the amounts in the boxes. It can do direct imports from the likes of Xero and QuickBooks Online, so you don't even have to key in the numbers, so there's no chance of getting numbers wrong. And also it's modular in the way that you can order what you want. So you can have, like, I mean, for example, I think I've got something like 50 sets for accounts production, something like 25 or something or whatever for corporation tax, and then unlimited for self-assessment tax.
And that's the number of returns that you can do?
Yes. And also there's company secretarial, where you can directly import stuff from company's house. And to set up a new limited company, you can directly import the data from company's house. So there's no typos keying anything in, which for me is ideal. It means sorry.
And then can you also see when everything is due for each client? Does that come in automatically?
The dates do, yes. It's got a practice management module that you can run reports from and see what's due. You can file the confirmation statement directly from the software if you've got the company secretarial module. There's a timekeeping module that you can get where it records the time on particular jobs on particular clients. There's a practice management module. There's a free one that comes with the software, which I have always found invaluable, especially if you're on the phone to HMRC. You can literally just open it up, pull up the details, and you've got everything there in front of you to answer all the security questions. And the paid for one, you can actually follow, you can actually put in your job processes, and it records that you can record the time on each bit of the process or where you've got to in the job for track of where you are.
So it's like a time tracking tool. Do you use that? Does that help you with billing, or does it just help you kind of figure out how much time stuff's going to take?
It can help you with billing. It depends if you're on flat rate for your client. It depends how you charge your clients, if they're on a flat rate or if they're on hours.
And how do you charge your clients?
Most of them charge flat rate.
Oh, right, okay.
There are some that are on hourly rates, but it depends what I do for them as to which way they've gone.
And would you charge client A and client B the same flat rate for the same thing?
No, because the amount of
dependent. And do you have a lovely Excel spreadsheet to help you with that?
No, I've got it all stored in my head.
Of course, but bookkeepers' heads are different from normal heads, so that makes total sense to me. So Lucy, listening to Nikki, is that all the kind of stuff that you enjoy about TaxFiler as well, or is there anything that kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm quite liking the sound of TaxCalc. I have used it, but yeah, my software is TaxFiler. It does pretty much the same. It does all the final accounts, the tax returns. You can use it for MTD. It does trusts and estates. It connects with, I wrote this down because I couldn't remember, Xero, QuickBooks Online, Sage, Free Agent and Cashflow. It will pull through, not only will it pull through your trial balance for your actual accounts, but if you're setting up a new client, it can pull through all your client details, their address, their UTR and all that kind of thing from your accounts package. It has the same, it's got a practice management module which comes free dependent on your subscription level. So if you're one up from the very bottom, you get some Iris open space. I think it's 1 gigabyte of data, and that will create oh wait a second, that's slightly different, isn't it? The Iris open space allows you to send through documents to your client for e-signature and records it all coming back, and you can share documents with them, which seems like a great tool, and I need to investigate it further.
Yeah, because otherwise
I'm currently paying for another piece of software to do that, which doesn't make any sense at all. So I'm going to look at that.
Does TaxCalc have that as well, sort of e-signature through the tool?
It does, and it also uses Smart Vault, which is one that the ICB links to as well. So
but that's not free, is that? You have to pay extra to...
You pay, but TaxCalc's version is actually cheaper than the ICB. Great
loophole. So don't buy Smart Vault directly, we're saying, if you're using TaxCalc. Loop it in through there, get a bit of a deal. Smart Vault pricing can be a bit complicated because it's all in the wrong currency.
There's the e-signing as well, and that was absolutely fantastic in January, sending out the sending out all your tax returns to everybody and getting them back almost instantaneously signed off before you actually file them. Rather than the old way of having to have meetings with people to get them to manually sign them, as it used when you first started it.
The idea of it, unbelievable in this day and age. So yes, so you kind of alluded to Iris there. So Iris bought TaxFiler, didn't they, fairly recently? Yeah. Does it feel kind of Iris-y?
No, nothing in the user interface has changed at all. No. So the other things it's got, because I didn't quite, I was saying the practice management, it's got practice management. I haven't used it yet, to be honest. I was having a look at it. It creates the jobs and the tasks within them that you can allocate to different members of staff if you got them. And it automatically has kind of deadlines, and it will flag up when there are warnings or any issues with a client's return or accounts. The other thing I really like about it is that it creates self-assessment questionnaires. So each year it will create a questionnaire that you can send to your client with cells that they have to fill in with details of their earnings, the property income, all that kind of thing, and it will pre-populate the cells that it already knows. So it's a really nice tool that you can just send to your client. They then fill in the information, send it back to you. You put it into the system. The other thing that they brought out really recently is for the self-assessment income grants for COVID. They calculate on there which of your clients are due a grant, well, are eligible for a grant, and how much it should be. So it's a nice little, I haven't had to look through all my clients to calculate for them or see whether they should apply for one. It just tells me which ones should and shouldn't and why.
Wow, that's very cool. And so what proportion of your clients are you sort of helping with grants?
Well, all my self-assessment ones that are eligible, I've written to tell them that they should apply for them if they need them. But obviously as agents, we can't actually do it for them. So I haven't really helped massively other than making them aware that it's available.
Yeah. Wow. Nikki, are you also helping with stuff like grants?
Yes, I decided to go a different way, which was extremely time consuming, and I decided to phone everybody who was entitled to one and talk them through the process.
Lovely. And do you think it was worthwhile?
Yes, because it also meant I touched base with them all. I did
Good news.
I did the first grant. I haven't done it for the one that was due this last week, but I did it for the one back in June. And I've also done it for the furlough things. I keep in regular touch on the furlough grants as well.
Gotta love the furlough stuff. Just so pleased I'm not doing payroll. So let's talk about the cost of it all. Do you guys know what, I mean, you know, what are you sort of paying for your respective products? Lucy, what kind of package are you on? How does the billing work?
I do know. So their basic package, which has, you can have up to 10 clients. So it's as many returns for that client as they need. That's £10 a month. For up to 30 clients, it goes up to £20 a month. And if you pay, so that's £20 a month if it's on direct debit throughout the year. If you pay as a annual fee, you get 2 months free, so a little discount there. And then the one I'm on is the Pro, which it's £30 a month for unlimited clients. And again, if you pay annually, you get a discount, so it's £300 a year. So it's not that much, really. No, but that's for a single user. If you've got members of staff and have to add them in, it's extra. You have to pay for other users. They do have a team one, which is £199 a month for 10 users. And then if you've got more members of staff than that, it would be an extra £20 a month for the extra users.
Wow, but that's quite a lot. That would be quite a large bookkeeping practice.
Yeah, massive, yeah.
Sylvia Borehill's online. She's just wondering, Lucy, is that just for self-assessment or for accounts and corporation tax returns as well?
Sylvia, I assume you mean the number of clients. It's for whatever you do for them. So if you've got a limited company that you also do the MTD VAT, that would count as one client rather than two.
That's great. I mean, I think when you compare that to the price of something like, can I say, like Go Proposal or Practice Ignition, it's a lot more affordable.
It is, and
you know, it's directly related to a service, an additional service that you can offer somebody.
They kind of doubled the price almost last year, and there was quite an uproar, but it's still a good price compared to other softwares.
So how does that compare to the price of TaxCalc? Can you tell us about that, Nikki?
TaxCalc is a bit dearer. I'm paying probably about £1,000 a year, but that gives me up to 5 users. It gives me the Cloud Connect service, which means I can log in from any PC. I mean, I've used it when I'm away off my iPad by logging into a Windows desktop remotely. It also has letters of engagement as well. Does.
And what, can you tell us a bit more about that? How does that work?
You literally sort of key in the details into the system, into the management section, and you can generate a letter of engagement. Or you can do your own letters of engagement, and you can do mail merge letters as well as your general tax questionnaires. So you could do any letter you wanted to. If you just wanted to send something to all your clients, you'd literally just set up the mail merge and then send it off to the clients that you wish to send it to.
The letters of engagement, I can see how that would be very useful and nice to just have everything nice and tidy. And you start off using the software and you send it out, and then you're like practiced at using it with that client. But letters of engagement, is that something that you send more than once?
You send it at the start of your thing, or if anything changes. And also if you change, I tend to sort of I do try to update them every now and again if I've got the time to do so.
And then I guess things like your privacy policy, GDPR and all that stuff, it's kind of linked.
Yes.
But separate. And then billing, how do you do billing? You don't use it to bill through, but how do you do the billing? Actually take the money and request it?
I actually invoice the clients and they pay in a multitude of ways.
Wow, that's very flexible of you.
They either pay.
You don't take checks, do you?
I have some that still pay by check.
Wow. So we've actually hired, I think it's like 3 people who were the same age as ICBs. They were born in 1995. They've never seen checks. They've never seen one. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, Nicola Paddy takes checks if you're very nice to her. So Lucy Brown, does TaxFiler do any of that sort of letters of engagement?
No.
And what do you have a thing that you use for that, or you just use email?
Well, I have a template that I adjust for each new client, and then I send it out via, I use my DocSafe, which is an e-signature, and it's like SmartVault, I believe. So I sent it out for electronic signature that way.
So my DocSafe and SmartVault, that both been mentioned, are past exhibitors at the summit. So hopefully you'll be able to meet them at the virtual summit this year, which is all still very top secret. So Sylvia Ball is just saying, yeah, sort of agreeing that TaxCalc is more expensive, and she pays £127 a month for it, and she gets unlimited. So is that kind of a key difference? Is that TaxCalc restricts the amount of actual returns that you can do? She's saying that covers unlimited self-assessment tax returns, but 50 CT returns. And then is that different from TaxFiler, which doesn't limit?
Well, TaxCalc is modular, so you can say, I want to do, if you don't do corporation tax, you don't have to have corporation tax returns. If you only do 12 corporation tax returns, you can have corporation tax 12, which is £185 a year.
Oh. Deal.
If you want to do 12 accounts, 12 sets of limited company accounts or sole trader accounts, there's a thing called micro practice 12, and then there's another one that's small practice 50, and then there's, I'm not sure if there's one in between, but then there's unlimited.
I see. Probably when you've got it all written down, it makes total sense. And is that the kind of thing you can change throughout the year?
Yes, so you can start off with one. If you need to upgrade, you can upgrade. If you want to downgrade, you can downgrade. I had unlimited for everything, for both types of tax, and I actually downgraded corporation tax this year because I didn't need as many.
So is it kind of, by definition, are you always going to end up doing more self-assessment tax returns and corporation tax returns because you've got all the directors? You've
got sole traders as well.
Mm.
Whereas a limit, you know, if you've got 3 directors, the 3 directors all will most likely need to do tax returns because they don't all need to do them anymore. So you may have 3 self-assessments to 1 corporation tax.
Somebody actually asked, Susan Whelan is wondering if TaxCalc integrates with Sage. Do you know that, Nikki? I was actually trying to Google it, but it didn't seem on their website.
No, but you can import CSV trial balances, and you literally just map the codes. I import Sage 50 data into MTD for VAT. And I send all my MTD VAT returns out through TaxCalc to get them signed off before I submit them through their own software.
And is that because that sort of sign-off process isn't as clear in the software?
Yeah.
In the accounting software?
It actually gives you a VAT return with a space for a signature that you literally just put into the e-signature stuff and send it out to the clients. They sign it up. Then you can...
I was just wondering if Lucy, if that's something that seems kind of useful, do you ever get VAT returns signed off as well?
I get all my VAT returns signed off, but I tend to download the PDF from the accounting software and then use my DocSafe again to use the e-signature facility on that.
So in terms of like alternatives to using something like TaxFiler or TaxCalc, and obviously there are others, have you looked into, and do you use the tool that's part of your Xero or your QuickBooks or something like that? I mean, there is obviously Xero Tax now, isn't there, Lucy?
I need to investigate Xero Tax. I haven't really looked into it yet. I know lots of people that use TaxFiler also submit their self-assessments via HMRC itself, which is obviously free, and therefore they don't need such a large TaxFiler license. They only use that for their corporation tax, which brings down the cost.
You won't be able
but I really like the declaration and just a professional look that TaxFiler gives me.
So it just helps you manage that better, because the last thing you want to do is file something that...
Yeah. The other thing it does is each year it rolls forward figures as well. So if you've got a loss that needs to be brought forward, it will automatically do that. If you're using the HMRC software, you have to remember those things that need to be brought forward from the previous year.
And with MTD for income tax coming in 2022, April 2022, presumably that software will be no more, the HMRC software?
I assume not. Don't know.
Who knows? Maybe, probably Sylvia Borhell knows, I would imagine. She's just saying, TaxFiler was originally plugged to me as an extension of QBO, QuickBooks Online, which doesn't currently have a tax module. Well, QuickBooks, get with the program, right? What I found interesting actually about when we were talking about other software in previous episodes is that there's quite often a free tool that you can use for some of your clients within your main accounting software, and then you kind of have the paid for separate piece of software for the slightly more, I don't know, complicated clients or well-paying clients as well. I was just wondering, once you've imported your trial balance, for your average client, how long does it then take you to do the accounts preparation or the tax return? Is there a lot of extra work to do, Nikki?
provided you've got a clean trial balance, no, it's getting the trial balance clean and getting everything right first. I mean, TaxCalc automatically posts the tax. Once you've done the accounts, you import the accounts into the tax module. You then post the tax journal into the accounts, and then literally attach the final accounts into the tax return to submit to HMRC.
Great. And is there a lot of I mean, I get the impression that that quite often accountants think the purpose of their work is to reduce a client's tax bill. Is that part and parcel of offering this service to a client, do you think, Lucy?
I think it's part and parcel of doing bookkeeping for a client. I think you do it as you go along rather than at the year end. By that point, you're kind of, if you haven't picked it up on the way, you're probably not doing your best job.
So does it seems like a bit of a no-brainer to me that you might offer a tax service at the end of the year. That's the conclusion I'm coming to. I wonder if we could maybe do a poll to find out how many people are doing self-assessment tax returns and how many people are doing corporation tax returns. Sobe, if you're still there. Morris Leach says, Morris Leach has just swapped over from TaxFiler to TaxCalc and likes the fact that when taking on a new client, you can send the letter of engagement for signing and also do the 64-8 process, all from within TaxCalc. So the 64-8 process, there's some of these HMRC processes where you still have to do things by post, aren't there? Is that right? Can you do that within TaxFiler, Lucy, do you know?
I don't think you can. I'm not aware that you can, no.
That seems tidy to me, but is it worth £1,000 a year? Who knows? Again, I suppose it depends on how many new clients you're signing up. You know, if you're in a super boom time.
The other thing is you could get, I mean, TaxCalc would do a small business one for somebody basically setting up that would give them, for example, 12 self-assessment tax returns for £142 a year, 12 sets of accounts for £130 a year, 12 corporation tax returns for £185 a year, which comes to £457 a year for a set of 12 for somebody who's not necessarily got quite as many clients as some of us that have been in practice for a longer time or of a bigger practice.
Okay, so it's quite flexible.
Yeah, still a lot more money than TaxFiler, but you do have more capability with it.
But yeah, we'll use it. And what in terms of the sort of look and feel, does it all kind of look the same? And I suppose if you're using it to actually send stuff to your client and get your client to sign it, are you happy, Lucy, with the way everything kind of looks and feels?
Yeah. I mean, all the accounts come out in the standard format. It's very good at flagging where you might be missing something or questioning whether you want to include something else. It's intuitive. It works. It looks nice, and I feel more professional using software like this. I mean, TaxCalc would probably do just as well, but my preference is TaxFiler.
I think if I was TaxFiler, I would just stick that quote on my website. Nikki, do you feel like TaxCalc makes you feel more professional?
It does, yes, and it also does remind you of, like TaxFiler, it reminds you of things. It also prompts you in case you've missed something. It just makes life so much easier than it would be if you had to, because where it brings things forward and reminds you what, for example, when you do the questionnaires, it reminds you what the client did last year to prompt them to put for this year.
I actually was talking to Kirsty St. John earlier. I know you know her very well, Lucy, and she was just saying that there's something about bookkeeping where you basically have to wear a lot of hats. And when you go back to sort of one client, you have to kind of, get yourself in that sort of client mode to just remember them and, their circumstances. So I can see that being a really useful feature to just kind of put you back in the place and tell you what's going on, especially if a year has passed, potentially.
The other thing I like with TaxCalc is they're constantly developing the software. They're coming out with new releases with extra things and improvements most months. And it's changed an awful lot in the time that I've been using it and come on a really long way. The support desk is also in Berkshire, and I had an issue between Christmas and New Year one year, and they were closed, but they still provide online, and I had a set of accounts to file for the 31st of December. It was my own accounts, and
leaving the best till last.
And they actually got back to me, and we got the issues resolved within the time frame, and the account, everything was still filed on time, and that was between Christmas and New Year.
That's great. But also, part of me is thinking, how could they close between Christmas and New Year with that being such a busy period?
You'll find a lot of businesses
ICB does close during that period, so disclaimer. We can't all be working as hard as a bookkeeper.
And they do have people in house at that time, but the phone lines are closed, so you can't ring them, but you send in emails and somebody gets back to you.
That is really reassuring, isn't it?
Yes.
Do they have good customer service at TaxFiler?
They do. They don't have any phone lines, so all their support's on email or on their kind of website. They've got great tutorials and information on their help site. But yeah, no phone calls, which can occasionally be frustrating, but they're very quick to reply to emails.
Sometimes they do just want to pick up the phone. They don't use it. Claire Kendall is wondering if either of you know if these tools will work. Well, no, do MTD for income tax. I presume it's got to be on the roadmap.
I assume it's on the roadmap, but I've not heard anything.
TaxCalc, you can already tick a button to say that they're registered for MTD for income tax. I don't know how it works because I don't currently have anyone registered for MTD on income
tax.
Yeah, I've got them for VAT, of course.
Yeah. Are you guys intimidated by MTD for income tax, or is it all?
No. It'll just be getting the information out the clients.
Yeah, it's just more work, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's more work, in a good way.
If we can put our fees up, yeah.
Yeah, do either of you, so neither of you use any sort of billing add-on like Practice Ignition or?
No, I use a timesheet app because quite a few of my clients are on hourly rate, but nothing that actually feeds into any software.
And would you, presumably they've got that within Xero now and QuickBooks and all the main ones, do they?
I think Xero has a work practice management module, which again I don't use yet. I need to work out which practice management software to use because you get stuff with everything. And working out which is best to use, I'm not sure on yet. But
we've got 55 clients to look after. I mean, you must be rammed.
Yeah, my head's exploding and dropping balls. It's not good.
Calm. Everyone's dropping balls. Let them drop. We're all in the same boat. Who hasn't dropped a ball? Let's have a poll on that. So Joanne actually wants to know exactly what time app you're using, Lucy.
Oh, I use Harvest. Harvest. Yeah, it's Harvest. It's a free one. I use free version of it. Kirsty recommended it to me. I've only just started using it in the last couple of months.
Oh, I'm fantastic. Kirsty, obviously a fellow member who's also on the advisory council as well. And you live locally to each other? Oh, you don't?
No, a couple of hours away from each other.
Yeah.
Same region, but quite far apart. And really terrible roads.
Oh. Yes. Oh, Kirsty recommends Harvest. So there you go. So she's added it into the chat. So Sylvia Ballhill, thanks for all these things in the chat here. She was confirming that TaxCalc does integrate with QBO and as well as Free Agent, although not Sage. and says that it also has a GDPR centre and AML centre. That is a good point, Sylvia. Do you know anything about those, Nikki? Do you use them?
Yes, I do, and yes, I do.
Great. What are they like? What do they do? Who needs a GDPR centre?
The GDPR Centre is basically a tool where you can keep records for where you have got data, clients' data, what sort of clients' data you hold, why you hold it, and can flag to you when you need to get rid of it. It also, the AML Centre, you can record all the details of the documents that you hold, and it will flag to you as and when you need to renew those documents. And you can do AML checks online as well through the centre.
Fantastic. So that's like ID checking your client.
Yes.
Example. Very handy. Is that all extra?
Yes. Yes. So you don't have to have it, but you can have the extra modules if you wish to do so. But I've found that it just makes life so. If you've got all your software in one hub, and all the management things, like, because I consider GDPR and AML sort of practice management, with that all being in the one centre, it just means that everything is all in one place all together.
Tick those boxes. So Sylvia Ball-Hill's just said T-sheets.
Yes.
The time management thing.
That's the time tracking.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's an Intuit company, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes, it is.
So she's a bit of a fan of Intuit, is Sylvia, I think, and has mentioned also that you can do VAT with TaxCalc if you pay extra. And can you do VAT with TaxFiler? Yeah. If you want to. So that's fantastic. Okay, well, I think that's been very useful. But however, I have just noticed somebody has mentioned, yes, that they like my DocSafe, Lynn Watson. So Lynn Watson very kindly reached us from Italy last week to talk to us about auto entry. So hi, Lynn. I hope you're managing to find the villa of your choice. And Alison Ford is just saying, yeah, TaxFiler will be doing MTD for income tax. They'd be mad not to. And yeah, Lynn uses Workflow Max for Xero. So in terms of you and your sort of practice development, what's next for you guys? Obviously, Lucy, you're all about efficiency, systemizing, fixing everything. Nikki, is there anything kind of on your horizon that you're looking into or challenged by, fascinated by?
I'm actually looking at taking on an office.
Ooh.
So going against the current trends.
I love it. Right. I was actually thinking your wall looks so pristine behind you. Is that like a real wall?
It is a real wall, yes.
Okay. I would love part of my house to be pristine one day. So what kind of office? So this is for you and your two part-timers?
Yes. It's in a business centre locally, and a few of my clients are actually in the same business centre.
Yeah, I hear that a lot actually, that these business centres you can kind of wipe up. Is that the right word? Attract a lot of clients. I don't mean do like a little side hustle of cleaning.
You've got clients there, so.
Oh, ideal.
Yes.
And what kind of benefit do you think it will have to the practice having an office?
Well, it means I can bring the member of staff back that I couldn't have back. It also means that it's not quite the same as bringing people into the home. It's more professional for business meetings and things like that. And how? I know you mentioned you phoned your clients during the lockdown. Is that quite important to you, that sort of one-on-one personal touch with your clients? Yes.
And that's what they come to expect, I suppose. And once you've started, you can't stop.
No.
But how often are you having business meetings? Is that business meetings with clients?
Yes. Currently not.
Bit of a dry patch for normal meetings.
But previously I was probably having, well, I currently am going to site with two clients where I work on site with them.
Mm-hmm.
Back I went back to one of them in August and went back to the other one in July. The rest, I suppose, before lockdowns kicked off, I would probably have clients call round maybe a dozen clients a month.
Wow, that's dedication. Lucy, do you ever see your client? I mean, I've got 2 small kids too, and frankly, I did my first eat out to help out yesterday, but I'm like, who can go out for dinner or do anything? Lockdown's been no change for me, really, personally. It's just like, yeah, still not going out.
My children are a bit older than yours, so they do go to school, and I actually put them back into school for the last 3 weeks of term. I just wanted them out the house. So I do see clients. I've got some that aren't local, so I don't see them very often. But I probably see all of them, not nearly as frequently as Nikki, obviously, but at least once a year. Some of them far more frequently. Yeah, I have phone conversations with them, emails.
You get enough. They
get enough.
Get enough contact.
I probably could do with more of a personal touch, but it's time and ability, really.
I mean, I anyway see all of mine once a month, but there is some regular ones that I do very regular bookkeeping for that I do. And the ones I go to site with, I've got one where I go twice a week. I haven't been to that one since we locked down.
Yeah, I've got a couple I go to site with normally.
So all in all, what do you think that COVID and the lockdown and everything else has had a sort of quantifiable effect on your business, Lucy? Has it been sort of noticeable?
I seem to be busier. I was saying to Nikki before, I can't quite qualify where that busyness has come from or why. But yeah, really, really busy. And I kept thinking at the beginning that it would suddenly slow down once everything became normal, and it just hasn't. And I'm not sure it will do. It just seems that there is a lot of business out there.
That sounds good. Nikki, what about you?
I've found exactly the same. And clients are being more proactive as well, phoning for advice.
Right, a blessing and a curse.
I find they ask before they do something than after they've done it.
Yeah, that's true. Wow, so it's very busy. I mean, I think we all get busier every year, weirdly, don't we? It's very strange. Maybe that's, who knows, the process of aging. But good to hear that the business is out there and business is thriving, and you are obviously doing some fine work and helping businesses keep going. Claire Kendall says, Lucy, you could be busier answering all of our questions.
No, I think
what do you mean by that?
I don't think that came across quite right. Oh. She's a branch member, and we have a lot of questions in our WhatsApp group.
That's lovely. So just to sum up, just to quickly say that the Bookkeepers Summit will be completely virtual this year, and we are going to be releasing information from the 7th of September, so in less than 2 weeks' time. For you guys to be interested in the Bookkeepers Summit this year, now I know that you've both been in previous years, and what kind of thing would you be looking for at this year's Bookkeepers Summit? What can I deliver for you? Go on, Nikki.
The main reason I go to the summit is catching up with members that I haven't seen for a year, meeting up with the vendors, so the add-ons, and seeing what's new in the marketplace and what can help. Also, if I've got issues with some of the add-ons, or like talking to HMRC about sort of general questions, or Companies House, or that kind of thing, and also the CPD.
And you want the CPD because you've got to collect the points, or because it's actually useful?
Because it's useful.
Because it's useful. Continuing professional development.
Yeah.
Even as a seasoned professional like you.
Yep.
Still developing.
Yes. You never stop learning. When you do, then something's wrong.
You never stop learning. Is there anything you're particularly looking forward to at the summit or concerned about?
Not really, no.
No, great. Lynn Watson says, I love the summit, exhibitions, inspiring presentations, meeting fellow bookkeepers and learning new stuff. So, like I've said before, we've got a platform that will enable us to have all of the learning, dedicated sessions about all sorts of things from doing tax returns to new rates changes and the future of bookkeeping, what's on the horizon, but then also giving you lots of opportunities to actually meet each other and network with all sorts of cool features like video meetings and chat. And we have got some really exciting stuff planned for the Lucre Awards. So again, at the beginning of September, we're going to be talking about the Lucre Awards. They're all up for grabs this year. So if you've done particularly well, we've got awards categories for new practice of the year, small practice, large practice, employed bookkeeper, employer of the year. So these are all ones that you can nominate yourself for. Also student of the year. Maybe you've got somebody working for you that's studying towards being a great bookkeeper. And then also social media influencer of the year. So yeah, get that one if you deserve it, if you've been big on social media this year. But we're planning something very ambitious. I don't know if anyone saw the BAFTAs. It's going to be at least 10 times better than that. And I just keep watching loads of other award shows for research, and I'm like, nobody else is doing it quite like we're going to do it. So I don't know if we're over egging it a little bit, but it's going to be great. And yeah, and the focus very much is on making all the content very useful for bookkeepers, but making sure that you all get that opportunity to really meet each other, because I think that's what we're all missing really. The summit is always so nice, but it's kind of those conversations, those sort of accidental conversations you have over a drink in between sessions, I think are the most valuable. But we're all we are a magnificent community of people doing great things. So yeah, I think where there's a will, there's a way. So I'm glad you're both coming. Or at least that's what you said, isn't it? You're definitely coming. Fantastic. So can't wait to tell people more information about it and what great speakers we're going to have. But obviously today has been wonderful. I've really enjoyed it. I'm super grateful to Lucy and Nikki for taking the time to help us and talk us through those different packages. And I hope that you've at home or wherever you are, or even Lynn Watson in her small apartment, she says, in Italy, I hope you found it useful as well. And if you've got other questions, just get in touch with us. And if you've got ideas for other software that you want us to compare, we will certainly get right to it. So thank you very much, Lucy.
Thanks.
Have a lovely afternoon. Thank you so much, Nikki.
Thank you.
And thank you to you, wherever you are. Good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye.